Hey you guys, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have the Funny Fruit collection coming from Sassy Pants Polish. These were sent to me for review and they will be releasing on June 12th. At 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will link Sassy Pants Polish's storefront down below. These will retail for $12 for a full size or a mini for $6. I have begun trying to test out stamping on all the polishes I review after the brush shop but before the swatch. I tested each of these polishes for their stamping abilities off camera. This is not really a collection I'd recommend picking up based on if you'd like them to stamp or not. The bases are kind of sheer. They will pick up and I think they would probably swatch really well over black, but it's not something I would recommend. You can tell that the maker put a lot of love and thought and effort into these, and I'm really excited to share them with you, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the swatches. First up is Cherry Poppin, and it is described as a red jelly packed with red holographic hex glitter and a subtle blue shimmer. So I think that is a very accurate description. It has a really pretty blue flash on it. So I'll show you a brush shot. And I'll show you how Cherry Poppin swatched on my natural nail. So here is Cherry Poppin at 1 coat on my natural nail. This one goes on pretty easy for me. It is a little bit of a thicker jelly formula. I did need to dip my brush once more into the polish to cover my full nail, but I had no problem getting any of the larger hex glitters out. I had no problem with disbursement or anything like that. So this is 1 coat. I'll let this dry and then come back in for a second coat. Okay, here is the second coat of Cherry Poppin. This is going to build this polish up to what I think is opacity. If you'd like to stop here, you absolutely could. I think this really benefits from a third coat. It makes it a little bit deeper. The further under the jelly polish that the larger red glitters sit, the more juicy it looks. So I do recommend doing a third coat. I'm going to let this dry and then come back in for it. So here is the third coat of Cherry Poppin. You can see there that it does dry down a little bit matte and a little bit textured because of the glitter, so I do recommend top coating this one as well. 3 coats is going to deepen it up and give this a really gorgeous finish. So here is a look at the completed mani with top coat under artificial lighting. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight. I think all of these polishes really come to life in natural direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is Nice Melons, and Nice Melons is described as a coral linear hollow with a red gold microflake. If you feel like you've seen this polish before, it was a custom polish for Polish and Paul's blogiversary. So I'm so glad that she's decided to remake this. Here is a brush shot, and I'll show you how Nice Melons swatched on my natural nail. So here is 1 coat of Nice Melons. This one goes on pretty sheer. It goes on really evenly and smoothly. The formula is great. Dries pretty quickly as well. I think this polish is what I would classify as a soft linear hollow. It is there, but it is kind of lost a little bit in the shimmer. So I'll let this dry and then come back in for a second coat. So here is the second coat of Nice Melons. This builds it up, but it still does not bring this one opaque. It does have a nice soft, clean feel to it. I think this is a really good polish to kind of ease your way into holographics. It's a nice classy color and a soft linear, so I'll let this dry and then come back in for the third coat. Here is the third coat of Nice Melons, and this is going to bring it right to the edge of opaque for me. With all that shimmer, it kind of looks opaque here. In some lighting, you can still see my free edge. I really enjoyed this color though. Here is a look at the completed mani with top coat. Here it is from another angle in direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is Going Bananas, and this is the yellow of the collection. It's described as a pearl yellow shimmer with holographic micro glitters and gold hollow hex glitters. This one is a surprise stunner for me. I saw this in the bottle and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm not usually a yellow lover. This one just may be my favorite. It's really pretty. It reminds me of Belle's ball gown. So I'll show you a brush shot. And I'll show you how Going Bananas swatched on my natural nail. So here's one coat of Going Bananas. This one has really good and easy coverage, especially for a yellow. There is still nail line, so I am going to come back in for a second coat, but this one had great coverage. Okay, here is the second coat of Going Bananas. And this builds it up a little bit, deepens it, and makes that shimmer a lot stronger. I think at this point it is still not quite opaque for me, so I am going to come back in for a third coat. Here is the third coat of Going Bananas. And once more, that builds up that shimmer, makes it that much closer to being opaque. I think this one is fully opaque at 3 coats. Even though this one has a pearly base, it had no brush strokes at all for me. So here is a look at the completed mani with top coat. Here is a view from another angle in direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. Next up is Limey Bastard, and this one is described as a bright lime scattered holographic micro glitter polish. It is in sort of a lime jelly base. The micro glitter in this polish is really finely ground. It lays nice and flat on the nail, so I'll show you a brush shot. And I'll show you how Limey Bastard swatched on my natural nail. So here is one coat of Limey Bastard, and as you might would expect, it does go on a little bit sheer, but the coverage is nice and even. This one does dry fairly quickly as well too. So I'll let this dry and then come back in for a second coat. Here is the second coat of Limey Bastard. Again, this one is not, I don't think it's really going to get opaque. You could sponge it on, but I think it's going to lose a lot of the lime green base in there. This does add a lot of sparkle to the nail though. I'll let this one dry and then come back in for a third coat. Here is my third and final coat of Limey Bastard. This does build the glitter up quite a bit. It's still not opaque for me. I would use this one more as a topper. Really pretty finish though. It almost reminds me of Zoya's Aurora and Zoya's Blaze and Zoya's Dream, where it has that deep holographic finish. Really pretty. Here is a look at the completed mani with top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight. So tons of sparkle in this one. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. Next up is One Bad Apple, and it is described as a sheer dark green jelly with UCC flakies and a pale green medium hex matte glitter. So she said this one can be built up for full coverage, but it also looks great as a topper over black. I'll show you both ways today. Here is a look at the brush shot, and I'll show you how One Bad Apple swatched on my natural nail. So here is one coat of One Bad Apple. It does start out pretty sheer, but you get a nice smattering of those ultra chrome flakies. I am going to do a little bit of a thicker first coat because I know this one is going to be kind of hard to build up. There are some of the larger matte hexes. You don't have to fish for them or anything, but be careful with application because they do tend to want to stick to each other. So here is the second coat of One Bad Apple. And you see there they're trying to bunch up over those glitters. So just a little bit of extra strokes gets them moved out of the way. At 2 coats, this is built up pretty nicely, but not opaque at all, so I will let this dry and then come back in for a 3rd coat. So here is the 3rd and final coat of One Bad Apple. This is going to build it up a little bit more, make those matte hexes sink into the jelly finish. I do prefer this one as a topper, and I'll show you how that looks in just a minute. Here is a look at the completed mani with top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next I'll be swatching One Bad Apple over Zoya's Willow. This is just a plain black cream. So here is 1 coat of One Bad Apple. This has a really pretty, almost duochrome looking finish. I did get one of the larger matte hexes there. So this is definitely my favorite way to wear this one. Here is a look at the completed mani with top coat of One Bad Apple as a topper. So next up is Blueberry Balls, and this one is described as a royal blue shimmery liner and scattered holographic polish, jam-packed with holographic micro glitters and blue hex glitters in various sizes. So this one has a lot going on. This is another favorite of mine, really pretty. So I'll show you a brush shot. And I'll show you how Blueberry Balls swatched on my natural nail. So here is 1 coat of Blueberry Balls. Like the other polishes in this collection, this one does start out a little bit sheer. I get really great coverage from this though. I didn't have to think about the glitters at all. I got a nice disbursement right out of the bottle. I will let this one dry and then come back in for a 2nd coat. Here is the 2nd coat of Blueberry Balls. This one is going to build it up right to the edge of being opaque. I feel like you could get away with 2 coats if you'd like. You get a nice amount of that scattered holographic glitter as well. I am going to let this one dry and come back in for a 3rd coat. So here is the 3rd coat of Blueberry Balls. I feel like it does just deepen it up a little bit and add some depth again to the larger hex glitters. I think the color payoff is really worth the 3rd coat. So here is a look at the finished mani with top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight, and this is where this one really shines at. Gorgeous finish. I love the shimmer plus holographic plus larger glitters. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So the last polish of this collection is Plum Crazy, and this is a plum holographic micro glitter jelly base with violet and magenta hollow glitters. So it's super sparkly. This is what actually prompted her to make the entire collection. This was part of the mini indied box. So many people loved this polish and wanted it that she decided to make a full size of it. And from there she decided to make the whole Funny Fruits collection. So here is a brush shot. And I'll show you how Plum Crazy swatched on my natural nail. So here's 1 coat of Plum Crazy. Again, it starts out sheer, easy coverage though, formula you don't have to really think about. The glitters go on perfectly and seamlessly. I will let this dry and then come back in for a 2nd coat. So here is the 2nd coat of Plum Crazy. This helps build it up a lot. You get a lot more sparkle. I think this is going to benefit greatly from a 3rd coat, however. So I'll let this dry and then come back in for the 3rd coat. Here is the 3rd coat of Plum Crazy. This one is going to bring it completely opaque for me. This polish is insanely sparkly. I love how the magenta looks up against the purple as well. It's a great combination. Here is a look at the completed mani with top coat. Here it is once more in direct sunlight. This is a gorgeous micro glitter polish, especially if you love purples. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So if you'd like to see more photos, including macros, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. I will link Sassy Pants Polish's storefront down below, and again, these release on June 12th. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.